Good afternoon. My name is Stephanie Bishop. I'm one of the information officers here on the Eaton Fire. Currently, we're at 14,117 acres and 55% contained, with approximately 3,400 personnel working this fire. We'll do an operational update with Operations Section Chief Jed Gaines.
All right, good afternoon. I'll start with an operational update and then move to the USAR Urban Search and Rescue component. Crews continue to grow direct and improve our hand line that's all around this fire. The total fire perimeter around this whole incident is just over 60 miles. So it's taken some time, especially at the top of Mount Wilson, to get in some of these areas in Winters Creek, the area known as Grand Canyon up at the top by Mount Wilson, to get crews in there and get that secured. We are working on it. That is one of our big priorities, to get that fire contained and put around. The black line around this incident means that the fire's edge is contained and it's mopped up a certain distance in that we are comfortable with to call that edge of the fire contained. The red spots on here is still some open line that we're working on to get crews in. Some of that country is very steep for firefighters to get into, so we continue to use our helicopters and our aircraft to get in there and put that stuff out, and we monitor that with infrared flights. We still have some hot structures down in the Altadena area that we're working to put out. There's still, even though there's not a lot of smoke, there's still some ash pits that are burning in and around those structures that we're continuing to mop up. Our USAR team started on January 11th. We've completed over 8,800 searches of homes within the whole fire of the Eaton fire, which is a huge accomplishment for our urban search and rescue crews to get completed. We are over 90% complete. We still have a little bit more to do. And with that, we are focusing on the areas that we still have some targeted searches to complete and get those issues mitigated and done. Because of our huge success this morning, we have sent some of our USAR teams over to the Palisades to assist with that. With the search and rescue crews, they have completed over 1,100 miles of grid searches throughout the Eaton fire to make this complete, to search those 8,800 homes. With that, we still have fire engines, suppression crews working in those areas 24 hours a day to mitigate any issues, to put out any of those hot spots and the structure fires that are in there and make sure that that is safe and secure. We're working in collaboration with the utility companies after our USAR folks get through there, where they can come in and start making repairs, and that is happening as we speak. We continue to improve infrastructure around the JPL, the Jet Propulsion Laboratories, and around the communities of La Cañada. We still have crews in and around that area, and we're continuing to build out our alternate and contingency lines if anything were to spot out of this incident. You'll hear from weather next, but we do have some favorable weather, at least for the next couple of days, that we're trying to take advantage of that and get this buttoned up and mitigated as quickly as we can. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up with weather is James White.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. James White, incident meteorologist. So we made it through the Santa Ana wind event. That's now done, and our winds have been changing direction today. So today's been kind of a transition day. Our winds have mostly turned to the south and west, so coming from the west, coming from the south. We've stayed pretty dry throughout the day today. About 15-20% RH is what we've been seeing, but that's changing pretty quick here because that south and west wind is pulling in more marine influence. And looking out from the Rose Bowl here, you can see to the south and west that kind of cloud layer that lurks above the ocean. That's what we call the marine layer. So that marine layer is continuing to push in here this afternoon, and it will continue to do so through tomorrow. What that marine layer is going to do is we're going to have significantly higher RH. It's going to be much more moist around the area. So the RH is probably going to rise by tomorrow afternoon into Friday evening by up to around 70 to 80% at the lower elevations, which is by far the highest humidity that this fire has seen since it started. So that's great news. That south wind is going to combine with some of our upslope wind during the day. That'll focus the wind in some different drainages that it hasn't seen, so that might cause some slight upticks in activity if the places have been sheltered. But thankfully, the wind will be really gentle in general, so it's not really a major weather concern. This kind of more moist marine pattern is going to continue through the weekend, but it's going to slowly break down as we head into next Monday. There's already very high confidence that next week is going to be exceptionally dry. It's going to be very, very dry, especially for January. We could see humidity is dropping below 10%. So that is a fire weather concern. With that kind of pattern, we will see those northeast winds return. So those winds are very dry. There is potential for another Santa Ana wind event. It's something we're tracking very closely. There's only about a small percentage, maybe a 20% chance of the models which currently show that event being strong, but the possibility is there. So we're watching it very closely, and we'll keep you updated on that.
Thank you. Next up with fire behavior, Dennis Burns.
Good afternoon, everybody. Dennis Burns, Fire Behavior Analyst for the Incident Management Team. So, pretty significant 9 days of red flag warnings, and finally they're gone. The main positive for us out of that is we have essentially tested the lines that we've put in. Everything's held in place. I think I've mentioned on a couple of other briefings how those dry conditions help burn some of those fuels down. You just heard James's update on the weather, and with the increased humidity, some of the fuels, and we have different classes for fuels, but what we call fine fuels, they're like grasses, pine needles, things like that, up to even small twigs and whatnot, have what we call a moisture of extinction. And with the dry, moist conditions coming in and the elevated RH, some of those fuels are going to go out just because of the moisture in the air, which will actually aid the crews that are in doing mop-up and patrol. We did get another IR flight last night. It still is showing heat below Mount Wilson in this area and up in this area around Echo Mountain. And then there's still quite a few isolated heats in the Altadena area. As Jed mentioned, they're mainly ash pits. Most of them are not visible with smoke. Think of a barbecue. Once you get the coals ready, you don't really see any smoke, just heat waves. So that presents a hazard not only to our firefighters, but utility crews that are trying to make those properties safe. They have to be very careful about where they walk. So that's your fire behavior update for today, and I will talk to you all tomorrow.
Next up, Air Resource Advisor Jen Croft.
Good afternoon, Jen Croft, Air Quality Resource Advisor. I'm taking the opportunity today. We've got a lot of questions, individual questions coming through the system, but in the interest of time, we've kind of broken them into subcategories and groups, and we're going to try to tackle them one by one. And thank you for all your interest, and we'll do our best to answer your questions. So one of the key questions that people are asking at this point is, the monitors are all showing green. Is it safe for me to go back in? With some indications that they're still experiencing irritants and or concern that our AQI monitors don't reflect the volatile organic compounds that are associated with when structures burn. So the AQI monitors that we use on the AirNow system are PM 2.5 related. They do not incorporate the volatile organic compounds. That is part of the jurisdiction within the South Coast AQMD. If you have an interest in that project and or an interest in those monitors, I encourage you all to reach out to the South Coast AQMD. You'll find their link at the bottom of our daily forecasts, and or simply Google and take yourself there and do some exploring, because there's a lot of good information for all of the questions we're hearing. The next batch of questions that we seem to be addressing is, what are those volatile organic compounds? How long will they be here? Who does the testing? So those compounds are reflective of structural fire activities. They again fall under the South Coast AQMD, the LA County Public Health, and the LA County Hazmat Group in terms of determinations for when the conditions are safe, which is part of the process we're navigating with those cooperators right now. They will be the ultimate responsibilities for making the determination of whether businesses need remediation and or steps and the process to go through. There are some existing protocols available that are through those groups that we're going to be putting together in some packets, informational packets for folks to consider. Lastly, The use of masks. If you're returning to the fire footprint area from evacuation concerns and or your house and your residence or even your neighborhood, even though your house is still standing, was involved. While the good air quality readings on our monitors right now for PM 2.5 would indicate that you do not need to wear a mask unless you are exceptionally sensitive and you're experiencing that throat irritation, the activity within that area is indicative of an exposure that we have not been able to assess in its full capacity. So the recommendation in that regard is to go ahead and wear a mask, a well-fitted N95 or P100 mask. I would highly recommend, though, children, elders, and those with pre-existing conditions delay their reentry into that location until all of the components are kind of rested and settled and they've been cleared for the process. Those individuals will be exceptionally sensitive to the irritants that are in the soil and in the debris that you may be wanting to sort through. If you decide to go up and you want to go into the fire area to either review, maybe reclaim some of your belongings and or make some adjustments to the remaining structures that stand, you need to be using PPE and you need to have long sleeve at a bare minimum, goggles, gloves. I don't recommend touching the individual components themselves. Maybe put them in a container of some sort. Be aware that the half-life of those particular compounds, it doesn't just wash away easily. It's something that has to have a process to digest and remove. That's why we usually trust that to the professional units. And along those lines, there were questions about which companies, how do we know they're legit companies? Again, we're going to be working very closely with Department of Public Health and the South Coast AQMD to navigate that space and provide some opportunities and some suggestions that you can seek out. For now, I think we're covering the bulk of the questions. Again, I'm going to be chipping away at these with all of our public meetings, and I hope that I can answer and address all your concerns, and I appreciate your interest.
Thank you. Next up with an evacuation update and public safety with LA County Sheriff's Office, Captain Ash.
Good afternoon. I'm Captain Ash, the Deputy Incident Commander for this incident representing the Sheriff's Department. The Eaton fire remains at 14,117 acres and is now at 55% contained. Please continue to remain vigilant. As always, if you are asked to evacuate, do it immediately. Urban search and rescue efforts remain underway. Damaged areas remain extremely dangerous. The teams have nearly completed their work at the Eaton fire. Impacted residents can continue to visit recovery.lacounty.gov to view maps of damaged assessments of their residents. Repopulation for today was the following areas of Altadena, which occurred at 1500 hours. There were Meadows, the Meadows area of Altadena, Millard, Section B, and Millard, Section C. Please refer to either Genesis or Watch Duty, and it's mapped out in that area. To get access to that area, we have soft closures at Canyon Crest at Lincoln, and you will need proof of residency, such as a driver's license or a utility bill. A disaster resource center has been established at Pasadena City College, located at 3035 East Foothill Boulevard, and will be operational between 9 a.m. and 8 p.m. The curfew orders are still in effect for evacuation ordered areas from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. For closures and status of your residence, you could also go to protect.genesis.com. Thank you.
Thank you for that update. Next up, our speaker, Yona Halpern with LA County Public Works.
Good afternoon. I'm Yona Halpern, a principal engineer from LA County Public Works. LA County is committed to working with residents and all agencies involved to make the recovery process run as smoothly as possible. We're also working with local utilities to restore power, water, and sewer service, all of which have been damaged. Today, the LA County Health Officer issued a new order in preparation for fire recovery operations to ensure the safe removal, transport, and disposal of fire debris from the wildfires. This order aims to protect public health and safety during the cleanup process for fire debris. These wildfires have left behind fire debris and ash that pose significant threats to public health. Post-fire house debris can contain toxic materials like asbestos, lead, mercury, chemicals from household products, and other heavy metals. These materials are released into the ash and debris when structures burn and pose a risk to public health, animals, and the environment if inhaled or handled improperly. Here's what to expect for debris removal as we work together towards restoration. Step 1, hazardous waste removal. The US EPA and the LA County Fire Department are coordinating fire debris assessment and household hazardous waste removal activities. This process has already begun in areas that are safe for the nearly 500 inspectors to enter and provide the necessary clearances for the safe removal of fire debris. This is done at no net cost to the property owners, and inspectors will go property to property. Each property must be inspected and household hazardous waste removed before any other fire debris is removed. The second step will be fire debris removal. After the hazardous materials are removed, the next phase of debris removal can begin. There will be a program for the cleanup, removal, and disposal of fire debris. Property owners can opt into this program to have their properties appropriately cleared of the hazardous fire debris. Alternatively, property owners can hire their own private contractors to clean up the property after the hazardous waste assessment. However, the contractors must be approved and follow applicable laws regarding fire debris and hazardous waste cleanup and disposal. The county will release more detailed information about the debris removal program as it becomes available. Please visit recovery.lacounty.gov for the latest information. And lastly, it's important to note that some residents may be able to return to communities that didn't suffer as much infrastructure damage. But for the remaining members of the public who are still evacuated, please know that there is a massive coordinated effort to return you back to your homes in a way that is safe for you and your loved ones to start the process of rebuilding. Thank you.
Thank you for the update. Next up with Southern Cal Gas is going to be Lene O'Shields.
Good afternoon. Thank you to our first responders and cooperating agencies for the continued support. And to our customers, thank you for your patience and understanding. SoCal Gas crews have been working around the clock in coordination with first responders to safely secure natural gas infrastructure, assess the impacts of the fire, and make necessary repairs and begin restoring service to customers. To date, we have restored natural gas service to an additional 179 customers in the eastern Pasadena area, bringing the total number of restored customers to 961. SoCal Gas restoration efforts will continue tomorrow through the eastern Pasadena community and homes and businesses not impacted by the fire. Customers will see a large presence of SoCal Gas crews in their neighborhoods over the next few weeks. SoCal Gas is also receiving assistance from contractors and mutual aid partners, Pacific Gas and Electric, San Diego Gas and Electric, and Northwest Natural. It is important for customers to know the following about the restoration process. An adult over the age of 18 must be present during the restoration. Safe access to your meter and inside your residence to check your natural gas appliances. This process will take approximately 1 to 2 hours. As a reminder, never attempt to restore your natural gas service yourself. Safety of our customers and employees is of top priority. Please remember these safety tips. Authorized SoCal Gas employees will be in uniform with company logo. SoCal Gas employees, contractors, and mutual aid partners are required to carry a SoCal Gas badge. SoCal Gas employees will never ask for payments during home visits. SoCal Gas customers who have had their natural gas service temporarily turned off for safety reasons will not be billed for service during this temporary outage. For more information, SoCal Gas representatives will be at the Disaster Resource Center located at Pasadena City College Education Community Center located at 3035 East Foothill Boulevard in Pasadena. SoCal Gas representatives are available at 1-800-427-2200. En español, nos pueden llamar a 1-800-342-4545. Online 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, we are available at socalgas.com/fires. Once again, thank you for the continued support from our first responders and cooperating agencies, and truly we appreciate our customers' understanding and patience during this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker will be from FEMA, Nicole Wilson, Public Affairs Specialist.
Good afternoon, everyone. Again, Nicole Wilson, FEMA Public Affairs Specialist. A couple things I want to brief you on this afternoon. Number one, FEMA teams continue to serve wildfire survivors at our disaster recovery centers. We have 2 of them open right now in LA County. As of this morning, about $15.7 million had already been dispersed and is in the hands of wildfire survivors. We encourage anyone who had damage as a result of the fires that began on January 7th to reach out to FEMA and apply for assistance, okay? There are multiple ways you can do that. Again, you can do that by calling us at 1-800-621-3362. You can do that on the FEMA mobile app. You can do that online at disasterassistance.gov, or you can come visit one of the recovery centers and get face-to-face, one-on-one help with a FEMA staff member, okay? The DRCs, as we call the recovery centers, are located at Pasadena City College Community Education Center. That address is 3035 East Foothill Boulevard in Pasadena. Now, survivors in this area can also visit the other DRC if that is what they prefer. They don't have to visit the one that's closest to them. The second disaster recovery center is located at UCLA Research Park, located at 10850 West Pico Boulevard in Los Angeles. Okay. I also want to clarify some of the things we're hearing about, questions we're getting about hotel costs and how FEMA reimburses. Okay. So, number one, we want you to really kind of take note of this, okay? Number one, if you have applied for FEMA assistance and you have received a notification that says you are approved for transitional sheltering assistance, basically what that means is FEMA will cover the cost of your hotel stays, and that money will be paid directly to the hotel, okay? If you are currently staying in a hotel and you have not yet received a notification that says you are approved for transitional sheltering assistance, then you will need to cover the costs of your hotel and then work with FEMA to be reimbursed for expenses that insurance is not covering. Okay, I really want to make that distinction because I don't want people to think that they just don't have to pay the hotel bill. You do have to pay that cost up front and then work with FEMA for reimbursement for what insurance doesn't cover. Okay, before I close, I want to reiterate that FEMA is here. We are working very closely with the state and our community and county partners to focus on the whole person and helping the whole person recover. We are committed to this community. We are committed to the survivors, and we are going to be here as long as it takes. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker from LA County Fire, Assistant Chief Springle.
Good afternoon, Pat Springle, local fire chief for the community of Altadena. We continue to receive questions in regards to 911 service calls. So as a reminder, for any emergency in or around the burn area, utilize the 911 system. Los Angeles County Fire Stations, Fire Station 11, Fire Station 12, and Fire Station 66 are staffed and will respond to routine calls for service as per normal. Additionally, we're getting numerous requests for updates on different zones. I can assure you we are working hard in every zone to get zones opened up. There's numerous utility issues, safety issues, and what have you prior to us opening those zones. I can assure you we're making a push daily to get you back into your properties and to get those zones opened up. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Unified Incident Commanders, Alex Macbeth, Dan Olson.
Good afternoon. As mentioned, my name is Dan Olson, one of the Unified Incident Commanders on the Eaton Fire. I'd like to take this opportunity to provide you with some information pertaining to the damage assessment that's ongoing. We currently have damage inspection teams in the field that are working daily to assess and validate the damage as a result of this incident. To date, our completion is at 70%, with a total of 13,104 inspections completed. When we break those numbers down, for single-family residential structures, we are showing 537 damaged and 4,356 destroyed. When it comes to multifamily residential, we're currently at 26 damaged and 77 destroyed. Commercial buildings, 26 damaged and 123 destroyed. Other minor structures, 182 damaged and 232 destroyed. Our total at this time is a total of 7,555 structures that have been destroyed. To see these latest numbers and information on damage inspection assessment, please view the mapping products that are available at recovery.lacounty.gov, or you can visit CAL FIRE's website at fire.ca.gov. Thank you for your patience and thank you for your support.
All right, thank you, Dan. I'm Alex Macbeth, Unified Commander for the Eaton Fire. I want to pass on that our firefighters out there have been suppressing this fire going on 8-9 days now, and they've been working tirelessly. They've been working both day and night in some of the steepest terrain the Los Angeles area has to offer. I would like to give some good news on that front, though. We have 3 crews coming from Canada. These crews will be Type 1 rated and will give us the manpower to give our firefighters out on the line the break that they need. This is really important because we have other wind events that possibly could be coming. You heard from F-Band how dry the fuels are. So these additional crews will help not only the Eaton Fire, but also prepare all of Southern California for the next fire. Additionally, I'd like to thank the Rose Bowl and the Rose Bowl operations staff. They've been working with us and providing excellent care for us. With that, you heard from operations how successful we've been on the suppression side, and we plan on continuing. As I close out, you're going to hear different terms on the suppression side. One of those is suppression repair. We started suppression repair today. When you hear that repair for the next few days is only going to be working on those lines that are out away from the fire and not direct control lines. Tomorrow, when we come to speak to you, we'll have more information on the progress that we've achieved and some of the numbers that Dan has passed on. Thank you and have a good night.
Now we'll start with our question and answer proportion. I'm going to bring back out Operations Section Chief Jed Gaines.
All right, one question we have for tonight is regarding the lithium batteries that we found that were underground. That was discovered at a bicycle shop in the community of Altadena. And they were lithium batteries for electric bicycles. That issue has been mitigated. We just now need to work on the removal and getting in the disposal of getting those batteries out of that area. Another question I had for tonight was, can I define what debris fire is? So a debris in the fire is something other than just the vegetation. It could be, stuff that was left burning in a house or in a garage, or a pile of bushes mixed with other material that is burning or smoldering in an ash pit that we still need to extinguish. That's all I have. Have a good night.
Thank you. Next up, I'm going to bring back up Nicole Wilson with FEMA.
All right. We hear, sir, there are some questions about the hotel costs and how you get reimbursed. So, just for clarification, if you have been approved for transitional sheltering assistance, the first step you should take is to contact FEMA. They will help you work through the process of getting into one of those hotels and making sure you have the information on how you get there. They'll make sure you have the information on the program and the hotels we're partnering with, and how that money will be paid directly to the hotels. Okay, if you have not yet been approved for transitional sheltering assistance, but you have applied for FEMA assistance, you will have to pay those hotel costs up front. Okay? Keep your receipts and then work with FEMA to be reimbursed for those expenses if insurance doesn't cover them. Okay? It's two different things. I know it can become confusing. So, transitional sheltering assistance, we will contact you directly if you have applied for FEMA assistance. And if you let us know that you wanted to be contacted by text message, we'll send you a text to let you know that you have been approved for transitional sheltering assistance. If you receive that text or email or letter, however you told us you wanted to be contacted, contact FEMA. We'll work with you to make sure you can get into a hotel that we're going to pay directly for you to stay there, okay? If you have not received that notification, you will need to pay the hotel up front, and we can work with you to reimburse those costs after you present a receipt and after you show us what your insurance did and did not cover, okay? Thank you.
Thank you. That covers all the questions for this evening, but please note that we are still getting them in on a regular basis, and we do encourage you to. As the questions come in, we're looking for the appropriate people to answer those questions, and so we're not ignoring them. We are addressing them as soon as we possibly can. Also, we're aware that several different websites have been listed to you guys, and what we've done in the Information Center towards day 2 is began what we call a link tree. It's a one-way stop for you to find all those links. And they're going to be bringing it up here so I can kind of show you, maybe. But my personnel is also, who's responding to questions, has been putting the website on a regular basis also. We'll have that brought up tomorrow for you so we can show you. I'd like to also advise that we will have a virtual meeting tomorrow at 4 p.m. And we're looking to have an in-person meeting Saturday at 4 p.m. Our location is to be determined at that time, and we'll keep you updated. Thank you for joining us, and have a good day.
I'm Mark Pastrella, Director of Los Angeles County Public Works, with a message for residents affected by the devastating fires across Los Angeles County. For those of you who are still evacuated, I am so sorry for your loss and for your trouble during these times. It must be difficult to be displaced from your homes, and our hearts are with you during this challenging time. Rebuilding after a wildfire takes time, careful planning, and collaboration. My message to you from the state and local agencies involved in the recovery process is, you are not alone. I know you're eager to return to your homes and neighborhoods. We ask for your patience as affected roads and utilities are assessed and the safety of homes and other structures is determined. Once that work has been done, property owners will be allowed to return. I strongly urge you not to attempt to remove hazardous fire debris yourself. Post-fire debris can contain toxic materials, including asbestos, lead, mercury, and other chemicals that are released when structures burn. These materials pose serious health risk if handled improperly or inhaled. So take extra precautions and make sure you use the proper protective equipment, including goggles, gloves, and a mask, specifically an N95 mask. The next stage is the removal of fire debris, which is a multi-step process. The first step is hazardous materials assessment. This process includes fire inspectors going property by property to provide the necessary clearances for safe removal of fire debris. It's a service provided at no cost to property owners and an essential step before actual debris removal begins. Step 2 is a safe debris removal. The county will launch a debris removal program to assist property owners in safely removing debris. Detailed information about this program will be available soon. After debris removal is complete, the rebuilding process can begin. LA County is dedicated to streamlining permitting and building processes to help you rebuild your homes and communities. I know this process can feel overwhelming, but together we will rebuild stronger and safer communities in LA County. Visit recovery.lacounty.gov for ongoing updates and guidance.
We know that the Eaton fire and fires throughout Los Angeles County have devastated families, children, and neighborhoods. Thanks to the Board of Supervisors, the chair of the board, Supervisor Barker, and the county family, LA County Parks is opening care camps at 4 park locations: Arcadia Park, Pamela Park, Crescenta Valley Park, and here at the beautiful LA County Arboretum. LA County Parks is ready to serve 500 youth by providing enriching, safe, and caring places for our youth. And here to share more about our care camps is Richard Smart, who is leading our care camp at the Arboretum.
Howdy everyone. We are excited working with some amazing park staff to create a fun, welcoming, and safe space and experience for youth at our care camps. We're going to have field trips, hands-on activities, free play, quiet spaces, active spaces, so much fun. We also are going to provide meals, and the Department of Mental Health will be on site to offer their services as well.
We want to make sure that youth and teens during this devastating time are okay, and want to also support the families. LA County Parks is ready to serve 500 youth at one of our camps, and it's all free. We welcome our youth, and we will not turn away any of our youth from one of our camps.
We're here in Pasadena, California at the Rose Bowl. We're here in the parking lots, and this area is definitely not a stranger to high traffic, but this is where the command post is for the Eaton fire that's currently here in the Altadena, Pasadena area of Los Angeles County. We currently have today just over 3,200 personnel assigned to this fire, and that's personnel, but also equipment. We have engines, water tenders, aircraft, all types of pieces of equipment and apparatus that are assigned to the incident, both fire, law enforcement, contractors, and civilians. So we have representation from agencies all over California, all over the nation. There's hundreds of different patches that you see walking by. That's the beauty of California's mass mutual aid system. We're a fine-tuned machine when it comes to assisting each other with large-scale wildfires here in California.
When disaster strikes, whether it's fires, floods, or an earthquake, some essentials may become harder to find. Unfortunately, some try to take advantage of these emergencies to profit.
All right, Kirk, thank you. The Bridge Fire is now the largest active fire in California.
When businesses excessively raise prices during and after an emergency, it may be considered price gouging, a crime in California. When a state or local emergency is declared, the prices of essentials like groceries, gasoline, medical supplies, repair services, and housing can't go up by more than 10% in the affected areas. Protections against price increases last 30 days, while protections for contractor-related services last 180 days from the declared emergency. If you believe you're a victim of price gouging, save your receipts and file a complaint with the Department of Consumer and Business Affairs at dcba.lacounty.gov or call us at 800-593-8222.
This is Captain Sheila Kelleher-Burko with the Los Angeles County Fire Department. You're probably thinking, what does it take to fight a fire of this magnitude? This footprint is bigger than the city of Paris. When you put that in perspective, how much has burned? It takes about over 5,000 personnel. We've got 515 engines. We've got 66 dozers. We've got 115 camp crews, 44 helicopters, 60 water tenders. It's a massive operation and a massive amount of people here to do this. And if you look around base camp, you're going to just see virtually a city. All of Zuma Beach parking lot, for those that are familiar with Zuma Beach, is full of trailers, buildings, or temporary facilities in order to facilitate this fire. After the initial stages of the fire kicking off, it takes a minute to get this mobile city out here, but once it's here, it's up and running, and we've got a ton of support to really put towards this fire to help bring it to a conclusion, especially after the wind events that are coming. It is a virtual city out here. We've got bunks, we've got tents, we've got places to go to fix your equipment if it's lost or broken, or if you run out of something. Again, tons of food, people are making sure we're very well fed. Now, firefighters can't fight this alone. We have a ton of support from other county agencies. We've got our ocean lifeguards, they're incredible with this. We have our Office of Emergency Management. We have all of our admin staff. We have just a huge outpouring of help and support from all the county agencies.
So today what we have is a local assistance center, but even more importantly, it's a disaster recovery center that FEMA has brought resources to assist victims from disasters. You can register with FEMA out in the front and follow up with the assistance that you might need. But once you come into this room, we have all the county agencies and all the state agencies that can help you access the services that you need.
I have personnel here to help property owners whose property was damaged or destroyed by the fires. Under California law, if your property was damaged or destroyed, you're entitled to property tax relief.
When you come in and you talk to each of our agencies, you find out that there's the ways that we can help you. Can't make the whole picture whole, but we can at least put puzzle pieces together, and so you're on the pathway to recovery.
My family, we lost our home in the fire. It's been very devastating. Here at Pasadena City College, they have a lot of great resources, more of a one-stop shop.
In the long term, we also want to make sure that we meet the needs of residents who are displaced or who might need a little bit more special service that the county government or the state government and the federal government can't really provide. So it becomes a more intimate relationship with the nonprofits and people who have lost as they try to get back on their feet and try to get back to a normal way of life.
One of the things I particularly want to emphasize right now is that scammers and profiteers are already at work. Do not pay for anything, for any government service. There's nothing that these people can do to help you with your application more than you can get directly from us.
When you're ready, we're here to provide the resources that you need to start your pathway to recovery.
Thank you, county officials, for doing that.